Good morning, everybody. I hope that you enjoy your stay in such amazing conference. I would like to thank Mr. Tony for the very nice and professional arrangement which I could see with him, and he was very cooperative. Actually, he didn't want to leave big space for me to help to in organizing the conference, as he did much of the hard and tough work. So I would like to thank him so much for such great and amazing job. I decided to choose this topic after discussion with my colleague, Mr. Ahmed, because I believe that we as lawyers, we are selling to our client solutions. It's not just to talk about principle or concept, but we have to give them real solution to satisfy their legal need. That's why I believe the corporate structure and the right frame which we have to sell or to give to our client to use is very important topic to be considered, and it need to be known to any lawyer who has interest or his client has interest in such amazing region. In the United Arab Emirates, we have mainly three types of license which could be registered with the authorities. The first one is the offshore, second one is the free zone, the third one is the mainland. I will go through each one of them to indicate what is the difference and when we would advise the client to choose one of them. The offshore companies mainly in the UAE could be registered with one of three free zones, one based in Dubai, and that's the first one and the most recognized and the well-known one in the region, that's called Jabal Ali Free Zone. The other one is based in Ajman Free Zone, and the third one is based in Rak Free Zone. Normally, we suggest the client to choose one of those three, depends on his need. If it's economical need, for example, we could suggest Ajman Free Zone because that's the cheapest option. If he need the most recognized one, or he needed to be in Dubai with Dubai brand, which is well-known brand internationally, then we would recommend the client to use Jabal Ali Free Zone. The offshore companies are not allowed to practice business in the UAE. They are mainly established to do business internationally. They are eligible to apply for local bank account, company bank account, and there is no security deposit required to start such type of license or business. They don't need to have physical office in the UAE. They don't give the eligibility for the investor to hold residence visa. So if the client's interest is mainly to open a bank account in the UAE, or to do business out of the UAE with UAE corporate, or to hold assets in the UAE, the offshore is a solution which we would suggest, as that's cheapest and the most practical solution. It can be used to hold assets. The ownership of the offshore companies in the UAE doesn't need a local partner or local sponsor. It just could be owned by any foreign investor from any nationality. So in summary, the offshore doesn't give the eligibility for residence visa. It owned bank account, it could do business out of the UAE, and it could own assets in the UAE. The other type of business we have is the free zone companies, which mainly would be established in designated or defined free zones. We have in the UAE more or less average of 40 free zones. Establishing free zone companies doesn't need to have paid capital. In most of the free zone, some very restricted number would require the capital, but most of them wouldn't need it. There is no security deposit required. Some free zone would require to have physical office, and some other wouldn't require to have physical office. One of the challenges we face if we are setting up companies for foreign investors, how many times the client would need to come, and for how long he would have to stay in the UAE to complete the formalities of setting up the company. It's a big challenge if the investor is having his international business with plenty of jurisdiction. One of the facilities we have here that most of the free zone wouldn't require the client presence at all. It could be done virtually or through the local lawyer or the local firm if they have a proper power of attorney or authorization on behalf of the client. The free zone companies could be owned 100% by the foreign investors, so the challenge of having local partner doesn't exist in this option. They have the ability to do the business in the UAE within the defined free zone, and they have the eligibility to do business outside. In the market, there are a lot of ready-fitted offices. If the client would like to save time, you could easily have the office rented fitted, and that would save the 2 or 3 months fitting or the decoration period. The free zone companies could be used to hold assets. It could be used or owned by national client or international client. It has the eligibility to own shares in any other entities. The only restriction or the only difference we have between this type of business and the other business which we'll talk about is where you can do the business in the UAE. We agreed that the first one, the offshore, could do the business outside. The free zone could do the business within the designated free zone, and the third business could do the business anywhere. So the only restriction here that they can do the business in the UAE within their own free zone. That's very good. This type of business is very good when it comes to service providers. It gives the eligibility to have a 3 years residence visa renewable. It have the eligibility to open corporate bank account. This is example of the free zones we have here. We have Dubai South, which is the area where we have the Dubai Expo in 2020. We have DIFC, which is mainly for financial activity, Dubai International Financial Market, and we have we have Dubai Airport Free Zone, we have Jabal Ali Free Zone, we have in other Emirates, those options are mainly in Dubai, and we have Dubai Media City for activity relevant to the media, and we have other corporate free zone authorities in other Emirates like Al Quwain or like Sharjah, and most of the Emirates in the UAE have their own free zones, which we would suggest the client in case, mainly if the client have the business in this Emirate or he has economical restriction. The other type of business, which is the Dubai mainland activity, that's the one which is that's the one which have access to everywhere in the UAE. The business could be done anywhere within the same Emirate where the license were established. It would require local partner or local service agent involvement, and that's what some of the investors would raise questions. If they don't want or they don't need to have local partner, what is the solution? First, with the mainland companies, we have 2 types of local partner involvement. The second one is the local service agent, and that's not a challenge because it will be written in the memorandum of association that the local service agent is a just agent of the company who is concerned to or authorized to deal with the company entity to get the approval and finish the formalities. But he wouldn't have any rights over the shares, or he doesn't have any rights over the company assets or the company management. So it's not an issue. But we have, with some other type of companies, we cannot have the local service agent, especially with activity like the commercial activity. So we would always need to suggest the client solutions. We will come to the solution at the second stage. The mainland license would require always to have physical office, real physical office. It cannot be just established with having the license or virtual office, but the physical office could be co-working space or office space in one of the business centers or in through the government itself. They have the eligibility to conduct business in the mainland of the same emirate. They are eligible to open a residence visa. They are eligible to open corporate bank account. Now we will come to the solution. If you have a client who doesn't want to have local partner with him, because mainly, first we have to see what are his concerns. Maybe he has issues, copyright, which he wants to protect, and he doesn't want any third or second party involvement over such rights. Maybe he wants to own assets under the company name. Maybe he wants to have full control of the bank account. So we would suggest the client first to open free zone company, which can be done with any of the UAE free zones, which will be owned 100% by the foreign investor. Such free zone company will open the bank account. Then the free zone company will start the partnership with the local partner. Both the UAE partner will be owner of 51% of the mainland company, and the free zone company will own 49% of the mainland license. Then there could be a side agreement between the local partner and the free zone company to organize the frame of the relationship on what is the profit distribution, what is the contribution of the local partner, what are his rights and what are his obligations. And there could be a payment arrangement between the local partner and the free zone entity. The mainland company could have the bank account, and they could have the physical office, and then they could have the visas for their own stuff. The bank account of the mainland company could be connected with the free zone company bank account, so all the money collected in the mainland company could easily or automatically be transferred to the company, the free zone company account. So the only way to deal with this type of license, if the client, first we see if the client really in need for it and there is no any other legal solution, and if he has to use this type of license, we would recommend first to start by the free zone and put all the assets and all the real value which the client is concerned or he is considered as a priority under the free zone, and then the free zone will own the mainland company, and then the free zone will have the control even on the financial part, and they could have the copyright and the trademark ownership. We have other type of license from the mainland, which is the service license. We took example lifeguard services. Although this license would be issued from the as a mainland license, it could be owned 100% by the foreign investor, and he will have local service agent who will take salary, annual salary, for taking care of the government approval, and that's it. Such type of license, if it was issued as a professional license, it would have the eligibility to have office and to have visas for their own stuff and to have bank accounts. They have the eligibility to do business with all corporate within the same mainland, in the same emirate where the license were issued. So we have the difference. What's the difference between the local service agent and the local sponsor? There are type of differences, type of licenses to be registered with. There are three types of licenses to be registered with the Dubai Economic Department. The first one is the commercial license, which includes all type of trading business activity, including general trading and all other types of business activity. And such license should be registered with the DED. The second one is the industrial license, and the third one is the professional license. What they call it, the local sponsor or the local partner, should own in the memorandum of association, the official memorandum of association of the company, 51%. But he doesn't have to be the manager, and even his authority to appoint the manager or to terminate the contract with the manager could be restricted in the memorandum of association. He would have, in the official memorandum of association, he should have shares of the capital, which should be minimum at least 51%, and he should have at least shares of the profit, which could be less than this shares, but still his name in the official memorandum of association would be as a partner. even if there is any other arrangement, but officially he will be considered as a partner. The local service agent, as we indicated, could be officially in the government memorandum of association, would be considered as a just agent, and mainly he would be given for the professional activity. That's the main information, but normally we receive questions from our colleagues or from clients with regards to company in the UAE. Normally it doesn't take a long time. As Mr. Ahmad indicated, it could be done in some free zones within the same day. In some other free zones, in some other authorities, it could take a few weeks to be issued. But in general, UAE is one of the fastest countries in the region, which give the ability and the facility to investors to open their own business. What are the main registration requirements under the UAE law? For individual, normally we need valid passport, plus proposed business activity, proof of residential address, and 3 proposed names and brief resume of the investor. For corporate shareholders, normally we need attested license from copy of the license of the foreign company attested from United Arab Embassy where the license was issued, and attested memorandum of association, and authorized the power of attorney from the company to the representative to set up the business, passport copy of the ultimate beneficiary owner, passport copy of the proposed manager. We will need to translate all the documents if it was in English to Arabic through one of the legal translation offices in the UAE. If the company which will establish in the UAE, it will need to have a physical office. So that's the most of the common question we receive, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of your question with regards to the topic of the presentation. Thank you.